Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk to you about two concepts which look very similar but they're slightly different. One is a thematic fund and one is a sectoral fund. What is the difference between the two? A sectoral fund invests in a particular sector. So theoretically a banking sector fund will invest only in banking companies largely. So it could, if it's a BFSI fund, then it could invest in banking companies, it could invest in mutual funds, it could invest in stock exchanges, right? All the paraphernalia around the BFSI scheme. So technically it is possible that they invest in a software company which makes software for the BFSI companies. There is nothing wrong in doing that, or a mutual fund distribution company, right? So if it's listed, or a registrar, all of that come under the purview of BFSI. Now if I have a pharma fund, it could be investing only in pharma, right? It could be investing in your all pharma companies, whether it is working in India, whether it is working abroad, right? So a company could be oriented towards the Indian market or could be oriented towards the American market. It could be doing research, it could be doing development, or it could be just a large scale manufacturer. Everybody fits into the pharma sector. However, if I have a healthcare fund could be investing in pharma companies, in diagnostic companies, in hospitals, in anybody associated with tertiary care, which could include a TPA, right, which could include perhaps even a company which is into health insurance. So I could get healthcare would be a bigger umbrella. But thematic funds are again very different. I have a theme called India Opportunity Fund. So I will invest in companies which I think are opportune at this time. So if I think that Indian economy is in for a big boom because of exports, I may invest in technology companies and in pharma companies. So here you see that a thematic fund is technically a little less risky than a sectoral fund, because if you get the theme correct, at least partially you will not go wrong. So let's put it this way: you have invested in a thematic fund, and the thematic is India opportunities, and they think, or the fund manager thinks, is very India is going to make a lot of money in technology exports and in pharma exports. So he invests a lot of money in pharma, he invests a lot of money in technology largely, and he also puts money in other services, etc. Now suppose you invested in this, and I invested in the pharma sector, right? So I invested in a sectoral fund called pharma. You invested in a fund which was thematic, which had say 40% pharma or 45% pharma. Now if I got it right and I got pharma right, I would make a lot of money. But you wouldn't have missed out the opportunity either, because 40% of your opportunity fund also was pharma. So you would have benefited. But if it was technology which did well, then you would have benefited a lot more than me, because I would have been in pharma. Maybe pharma did 10%, but your fund may have done 25%. So I missed out on technology by choosing a pharma fund, right? Having said that, so therefore the question is, who should be investing in a pharma fund or in a sectoral fund, and who should be investing in a thematic fund? First of all, you should have a decent portfolio of a large cap, mid cap, or flexi cap, multi cap, all those kind of, I wouldn't even say, I would just say large and mid cap. That should form the core of your portfolio. Maybe 70% of your equity allocation should be towards that. Beyond that, you will put some mid cap, large cap, let's say you will put some money into mid cap and some into small cap. And so maybe that took up another 10%. That leaves you with only a 20% window, 20% of your equity allocation, not 20% of your overall portfolio, available for thematic and sectoral funds, etc. So you should know what percentage of your money is already invested in large cap, mid cap, small cap. Having kept that aside, now you have a window. In this, you have to decide how much you will invest in each sector. Now, if you think that pharma sector is poised for a fantastic growth, you should go and put money in pharma fund. But SIP may not be the best way. You may have to put a lump sum because you think the opportunity is going to be now. right? So you go and put money in a pharma fund. Then you realize that, oh, pharma fund is okay, but what happens if it is technology which is doing well, or banking which is doing well? So you want to put some more money into those funds, but remember, all put together is only 20% of your equity allocation, just 20% of equity allocation, not so that gives you a very small window. So you put little bit of money. Please also understand that if I put money in pharma fund and you did not put money in pharma fund, you had put in a large, well diversified fund, and your fund manager decided that 20% or 25% of the portfolio will go into pharma. It is his call. It's a go anywhere fund, right? It's, let's say, a flexi cap fund, and it does not say that it will copy the index or replicate the index. So then he also took that kind of a bet, and so you were represented better because the total amount of money that you put was much bigger, and 20% or 25% of that being in pharma funds, pharma companies, you benefited more. So the question is, do you need to do this at all? Yes, of course there are advantages if you get the timing right, if you get the sector right. At the beginning of a bull run, you would have done well, but then at the beginning of a bull run, if you put in a large cap fund or a multi cap fund or a flexi cap fund, you would have still done well, right? So it may not have mattered too much. Then the question is it risky? The answer is absolutely yes, it is very risky. You put money in technology fund and pharma did well. You put money in pharma fund and banking did well. All this is possible. So if you don't know how to time the market, which many of us don't know, so we largely go and look at past returns. Now if you take an infrastructure fund and that has given you, say, 31% return in the last 1 year, is it time to put into that fund? First, immediately you would think, oh, it has already gone up 30%, should I put? Then you look at the 10-year return, and the 10-year return in the infrastructure fund is, let's say, 5%. Then you say, oh God, last 10 years it has given only 5%, which means next 10 years it could give substantially higher. Actually what it means is, if it's 5% return over 10 years and it is 30% this year, it means one thing, that is the standard deviation is very high. When the standard deviation is very high, it means you should not be using average. The word average does not make any sense if the standard deviation is very high. I've spoken about this earlier. So when you understand standard deviation, you realize that, well, 5% may not be repeated, and neither 29% would be repeated. So is it a great time to be investing in infrastructure? I don't know. You then look at pharma and say, oh, pharma has given minus 11% last year. Last year there has been no growth in pharma. In fact, there has been degrowth in the pharma index. So should I be investing in pharma? Again, then you look at a 10-year return and you say it is a 21% 10-year returns, and you say, oh my God, this is too bad, this is too high, it may not sustain. So should I put in pharma? Should I not put in pharma? Should I put in infrastructure? Not put in infrastructure? Very difficult questions to answer. And having used the past data to arrive at completely wrong conclusion, you also read that what has happened in the past is not an indicator of what is going to happen in the future. So having said that, how do you deal with so much of data? The answer is very simple. You don't need to invest in thematic funds. However, if you are confident that these themes are going to work, for example, PGIM has a fund coming, NFO happening or about to happen or already happened on global real estate. So if you want to be a part of a theme called global real estate, I don't even know whether you should or should not. But if you decide that you want to be a part of that theme, you have no choice but to invest, right? There is nobody else offering you a product like that. So maybe you should invest, and it is your call. When you invest in a scheme like that, then that 5% or 10% should come out of the debt portion. It is a fund, but it is more likely to look like a debt fund than like an equity fund. So a portion of your money can be invested in that fund. Very clearly, it has to come out of the debt allocation. So you could do that. Now you could have a commodity fund, you could have a gold fund. Now a gold fund becomes a sectoral fund, but a mining fund becomes a thematic fund. So understand the difference between thematic fund and the sectoral fund. Understand both are very risky. You don't need to unless you understand. If you understand, be nimble and get out when you can. and not when you must. Thank you.